So, consistent with Erickson's views on the importance of trust, Bowlby and Ainsworth did some research that outlined the quality of the early experience of attachment and how that can affect relationships with others in later life. So when we think about attachment, Bowlby put forth the idea of the four phases of attachment. Bowlby suggested that in the first 2 months of life, infants will be attached really just to human figures, doctors, nurses, whoever's paying them attention. From about 2 months to 7 months, Bowlby says that phase two uh, is when babies really start to focus in on one particular figure, usually the primary caregiver, and building that attachment there. From 7 months to about 2 years, Bowlby says that there's going to be some specific attachments that will develop with the primary caregiver, possibly with secondary caregivers and others as well. And then phase four for Bowlby is that post 2 years old. And this phase is when children really become aware of other people's feelings, and so they're able to develop attachment bonds with others, not just based on their need and response to their need, but on their ability to uh, sense other people's feelings and emotions, their needs, and to respond to them in kind. Ainsworth introduced the idea of the strange situation. You're going to be able to read all about the strange situation and answer some questions about that and watch a video about that on the discussion board today, so I'm not going to spend any time really jumping into that. What I do want to say is that Ainsworth's work with the strange situation and that idea of the strange situation led to the identification of the four different attachment styles that we have come to associate with attachment theory. I want to go over those very briefly. First is the securely attached infant. Securely attached infants are going to use their caregiver as a secure base, and that they're going to use that base as their kind of security net from which they're going to explore their environment. So they're always going to have that home base to come back to. Insecure avoidant infants are going to be infants who avoid the caregiver altogether. They are insecure and they are avoiding that caregiver. There's not a bond there. Insecure resistant infants are going to be those infants who cling to the caregiver, then resist the caregiver by fighting against the closeness. And so there's going to be a lack of consistency there. And then finally, insecure, disorganized infants are going to be those infants who appear dazed, confused, and even fearful by the changing environment, by the situation that is strange that they find themselves in. It's going to be kind of marked by chaos, and so insecure, disorganized infants are going to be very chaotic. Again, you're going to be able to kind of see these attachment styles play out, or at least kind of understand what they are by watching the video in the discussion board. So I invite you to do that right now.